This is entitled Almost 50 Years with Boomer, Erna, and the Kids. And this is about my best friends. Okay. I'm just going to read what I wrote. All right. What do I remember about my time with Boomer and Erna? Do I think about all the trips and cruises we went on together? Yes, but there were other things, other times. What I remember most were the times we spent together working on houses and cars, and the things that went right, and mostly the things that went wrong. I remember the beginning. I caught Karen peering out the window at our new neighbor and his front yard. He had his shirt off and was looking very sexy, like me. Although I lie a lot. While using the pickaxe to penetrate the hard pan in his flower beds, I said he was probably stuck up. I, remember, had caught her peeking at him. She said, I always judge people too quickly and don't give them a chance. So I grabbed 2 hams and went, that's Ham's beer. Some of you young people,
it's a PBR crowd.
Some of you younger folks won't remember the real expensive beers we used to drink.
Why didn't you take turkeys on it?
I went across the street to meet our new neighbor. I welcomed him to the neighborhood and soon found myself using the pickaxe while he sipped on the beer. We'll come back to this. I remember Boomer and I stealing railroad ties from the creek in the field down the street. We had to go at dusk so we wouldn't be seen. We got several really good railroad ties. We felt pretty good about ourselves because we got such great railroad ties until the next day or so when we started itching. We both got poison oak, and Boomer even had to go to the doctor. He was so bad. He got it where I can't mention. Use your imagination. You know. He was in big misery. I remember playing any and all board games known to man into the wee hours. One time while playing Monopoly, Karen and Boomer kept the Monopoly game going until 2 or 3 in the morning. Vernon and I fell asleep.
Vernon did not fall asleep. No way.
Not 2 or 3 later.
Dennis was so stubborn. He had nothing. And yet he'd keep moving his hotel. He only had one hotel. He'd keep moving in front of Karen, you know, and then in hopes that she'd land on it. It just went on and on and on. Let's see. I remember all of us. We went camping at Patrick's Point on the California coast. Some of you might not know about this. We were in a tent, and Dennis and Berna were in a tent trailer. In the middle of the night, Karen and I woke up to a loud racket of cussing and swearing going on nearby. The dewdrops were so big and loud that when they fell on the thin metal roof of his camper trailer, it sounded like a drum. We looked out, and there was Dennis, clad only in his underwear, trying to cover the roof with a piece of canvas and cussing and swearing all the while because he couldn't sleep. I remember him helping me. No, me helping him, actually. Put a bench and cupboards in my garage. I remember helping him put down hardwood floors in my house. Helping him lay concrete and build a redwood deck at my house. And yes, I remember the time I helped him put a transmission in my old Chevy. Boomer was inside the cab with a rope around his shoulders holding up the transmission. I was on her knee, looking up to the opening in the large hole, like that. And he had it around, and of course the transmission, you know, he had the rope around trying to lift up the transmission, and I'm down underneath, and I've got my knees trying to push it up, so that the shaft would go in where the... With my legs. Well, we both tried to get into the clutch foot. He couldn't go anywhere with the transmission rope around his neck. Is it my fault that I'd had Mexican food the night before? I don't think I've ever seen Dennis more mad. Some of you adults can imagine what actually happened.
Yes.
And mostly I remember fishing and camping trips with Boomer, where we almost froze to death. Got lost because I was the navigator. Or drowned because the boat motor broke. 3 shear pins in a row. We ended up on an island on the other side of the lake. What was the name of the lake?
Stampede.
Stampede, brother. Better remember that. Where are we at? Here. And it was so cold. It was snowing and the waves had white caps. We made our last shear pin out of an old screw. It held and we made it across the lake to our truck. I want to tell you, just a little bit. I'm not kidding. It was snowing. We were miles away from any civilization. The waves were coming in just like the ocean, white caps. And we were in my father-in-law's, Karen's dad, 10-foot aluminum boat. Oh, 10 foot, the two of us.
Whose idea was it?
Huh?
Whose idea was it?
Dennis, it must have been. So we finally, we sheared off 3 shear pins.
Oh, God.
Because there was all these logs, the little pieces of wood in the water. And we finally found a screw, a little round head machine screw about so long, and we used it instead of a shear pin. And that was our last hope. There were nobody around for miles. We were out there all by ourselves. The clouds were all black. It was snowing. And I think it had that shear pin, we finally launched against these waves. And we got out, finally we got past the waves, we got out, and we got across the river, or the lake, which was at least a mile, wasn't it? At least a mile away. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here today. I don't think. Anyway. Yes, that was close, but not as close as the family camp trip to Pi Pi Valley. Karen and I, Dennis and Berna and the kids, Lisa and Kimmy, that's what we called her then. We called her Kimmy.
We didn't have kids.
Anyway.
What?
That's a side deal.
Yeah.
All right.
That's what I remember, that's what's true.
Yeah.
Go for it. Karen, you're a saint.
Dennis and I wanted to take everyone on a hike, but Karen was worried about rattlesnakes. She wouldn't go. So Boom and I got together and we talked it over a little bit, and we told her not to worry because the altitude was too high for rattlesnakes.
Tell them why we're worried, all these holes in the ground.
Those were squirrels. So we told her that the altitude was too high for rattlesnakes, and she bought it, and we went on a hike, and we had a great time. But 2 weeks later, wouldn't you know, there was an article in the Sacramento Bee. It was on the front page, and it had a picture of this guy, and he was a guy that caught rattlesnakes, and then he would take the venom and use it to, for anti-venom or whatever.
Right.
And it said in the article, the picture showed him in Pi Valley,
His favorite spot.
his favorite spot,
Wow.
to catch rattlesnakes.
So Karen, you were smart.
But I was dumb as good, I sure did.
So, anyway, that was one little thing I didn't get away with. So anyway, I bored you enough for now, so you've guessed it, I was wrong and Karen was right. Don't judge a book by its cover. Don't judge people until you get to know them. Boom turned out okay. His good-looking wife turned out to be even more okay. And her kids turned out to be nice, good-looking, and above average. I stole above average from Lake Wobegon.
I would like to add to that, that all the gals in that neighborhood were observing.